Hey guys, so I'm going to talk you through how to go about the evaluation and to really round off your project in the best possible way. Now, the good news is with this section is even the sample I've been using, and this is a sample that was done from sort of normal times, as it were. So it's a sample that where the student did make the whole product, and therefore they had to do a full evaluation of it. What's encouraging is if we just have a quick look at this, you can see actually with this one, they finished the manufacture there. Then what they've actually done for the evaluation is quite light, really. I mean, they've shown the product being used. I mean, that's at most all of this page would just be about an hour to write, or hour, maybe a little bit more to write up. Some client feedback. I mean, they've clearly done that in school, and they've just asked them some questions. Yep, positives, negatives. That's about it. And then they've just got a couple of pages on improvements. So like I was saying, I mean, that's it after that. So yeah, I mean that's quite encouraging, really. So what I want to talk to you about now is how to go about getting the best marks possible. So looking at what AQA are actually looking for here, here's this little box is the update from the exam board for this year. So saying this section's been reduced from 20 to 15. So thank you very much. Analysis and evaluation throughout the design process. This is really the biggie here. They want to be seeing continuous evaluation throughout the whole project. So you're not just getting to the end of the project and having done no evaluation whatsoever. You are showing almost every page has some sort of evaluation on it, whether it's like a specification review or it's looking at some client feedback, or you're doing some kind of testing, whatever it is. Those are the big three, really. It's like analysis against the spec, client feedback, testing of whatever, like primary testing or something. So ideally, every page should have something relating to that. You know, from the research section onwards, it should all have something to do with that. Now, with that in mind, you want to be making sure that all your decisions that you take, all the decisions you take for developing the design, you need to be linking those to the testing and the research, the testing, the feedback that you've obtained. So if you suddenly change the color of your product from blue to pink, for example, unfortunately, you can't just say, I decided to make it pink. They want to see that you've said, I made it pink because, and you're fully justifying why you've done that. That's really the key thing here. Now then, let's look at the mark scheme. So it says a comprehensive evidence of analysis. Yeah, so that's really just saying throughout the whole process, testing is carried out in a comprehensive and focused way. And it's showing here, showing how the results have been used to help push the design forward. Now, so really the first 2 points here, they're just done throughout the portfolio. So we can kind of tick those off. If you're confident you've done a good job on those, you can kind of ignore those now. So really the ones where you actually need to do something specifically for this section is here, where you're doing students provided well-reasoned critical analysis of their final prototype design. So going back to the example one here, this is where the student has basically just done a little bit of a user interview, client feedback, and a bit of sort of in-context testing. Now for us, that's going to be a lot harder to do because we don't have a physical product to test it with. So we're going to need to look at how can we do the same thing with our visual prototypes. So with the, how can we do it with your CAD renderings and that kind of thing. So it's actually quite straightforward. All you need to do, make sure you've got some really nice CAD renderings of your final product. You can use these CAD renderings to then do a design review with the user and treat this like an interview. So you'd sort of talk about you'd ask them questions based upon the specification and the design brief about how appropriate they think that the design is for the application. And you just get the feedback, and from that you draw your own conclusions as to how effective you think your project has been in answering their needs. Then after that, it's really straightforward. You can just do a whole evaluation against the specification. So looking at an example here, this is where you can just list out all the spec points on one side, and then you can analyze the success of the product through an analysis, and you say that you base this upon your user feedback. So for each one, you can say the user commented that appearance, and so on and so forth. So you can go down and use this as a sort of summary. It's a sort of summative analysis, I suppose. This student here, they've done a similar thing. They've done some in context testing first. And then they've done their analysis against the spec. And then after that, this is the only section where you're going to need to do a little bit more work. So further improvements. Now in the mark scheme, you'll see at the bottom here, it's saying a comprehensive critical evaluation of the final prototypes, clearly identifying how modifications could be made to improve the outcome. Now that's the first bit, together with these modifications and a full consideration of how the prototype could basically be mass produced. Now this is where having a good CAD model will come in handy, because the CAD can do most of this for you. So really they're wanting to see here, number one, what improvements did the users talk about that they wanted to see? So if we just look at this one again, you can say modifications based on feedback. Now this is where you can just get a few screenshots of your CAD model. You could change some colors, you could just sketch over the top of them, or do a little doodle or something like that, and then you can just sort of annotate around it here and saying how would that improve it. The next one is a bit more detailed. It's really saying how would you mass manufacture it. Now this student has taken these wood sections here, and they're saying, right, well, an obvious one to do would be, if I was going to injection mold it instead, I'd need to do it as an injection molded version like this instead. So they've just focused on how they manufacture these parts, using either CNC manufacture or injection molding. Now I've got a whole page which I've hyperlinked to on here called Design for Manufacture, and this goes to my website, where I show you and I talk to you about some little things you can do to a CAD model, like how to add draft angle to a part. So you can just show that it's got a bit of angle on there so it can be released from the mold, how to add rib features. Now these can all be sketched, or they can be CAD models, and you can just sort of explain through annotations why they're being made. So if you can just watch the videos, or just watch the I'd even say 1A, 2 and 3 are the only ones you really need to look at on here. 1B, 4 and 5, they're sort of even better but they're not really an absolute requirement. So that's basically what you need to be looking at there. Says I've signed out. How exciting. Okay, well, that's everything there, really, guys. So just do your best. And of course, as always, we're always here to help.